Hello, my name is Ali Shear. I'm the president of Inhumanity's Footsteps, and I'm excited to be here today moderating this virtual conversation with Gunnar Hall Jensen, the director of Oh It Hurts, which is premiering at this year's film festival. Thank you all for joining us. Gunnar, I'm very happy to be here with you today. Thank you for being here. Would you please begin by telling us a little about yourself, where you're from, and how you got into filmmaking?
Well, I was previously an academic in the ground, studying cultural media landscapes. In my cultural media part, did a master's there, and then I did 10 years of commercials and industry films. You know, oil country in Norway. Made not a lot of money, some money there. But then I just decided when I was 30, so it's like 27 years ago, I'm going to just do the films I want to see myself. I'm going to be an indie documentary filmmaker for the rest of my life.
Great to know what you were supposed to do and to be able to follow your calling is awesome. I wonder what gave you the idea for this movie. Like, when did you first encounter that particular Nazi 440A myth, and why do you think the story was so important to tell?
I have a close friend who's a musician, and he showed me some weird stuff on the internet. He showed me if you have liquid or water, and he showed me that at certain frequencies, there were beautiful patterns, and at certain other frequencies, there was very chaotic patterns. And I am no expert in sound at all, but I was so fascinated because I did the banal deduction that I am water, basically. So suddenly I realized sound must have an enormous effect on people, more than people know about and more than I know about. And then I went into the theme and I saw that there was this whole universe of insights and things around sound and how it affects us. And then I was also very happy because there is no film about sound before mine. In basic, there's no long feature films about how sound and music affects us. So I was happy as a documentary filmmaker, but also very curious to what is this unknown universe of sound?
It's fascinating to me. How do you take the idea and turn it into a film? Like, what are the steps? The writing of a script, getting your funding, how do you find casting? How did you find those particular people to interview? All the sequencing, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, I realized very fast that there is a reason why there is no film about how sound and music affects us. It's a too big universe. It's too multifaceted. It's not possible to get a story, a red thread, if you like. So I started with my friend also, who's a bit of a nerd. You know, he's you know, too much on the internet, and he has all these strange ideas. But then suddenly he came up with this Nazi conspiracy subculture. Actually, it's still out there. It's a lot on the internet with people who are very into, did the Nazis change the music in 1939, and is this still the music that we listen to? And when he told me this story, I saw I had a story. I had something I could fold the story around, something that drove the film forward, while I actually wanted to tell a lot of other things about sound and music and how it affects. So, but it's a kind of excuse to move forward and to trigger the curiosity of the audience. And so I went with there, and then I started building characters around there. And first we went to the guy, the conspiracy theorist who actually goes for this conspiracy theory about the Nazi and is convinced that that is more or less true. And then I had the key for the whole film, and then I could do the rest of the characters are not directly always referring to the Nazi theory, but they are talking a lot about how sound affects, and that kind of became an indirectly proof that sound is affecting us more than we know. And maybe the Nazis were into this also because they were into so much evil all over the place.
I was wondering if you discovered in the course of your research any more materials that might elucidate how sound was being used in specific by the Nazis to manipulate people? If I'm a musician. I have a 440A in my head. Uh,
Mm.
I wonder if you discovered any more materials that might illuminate that.
Yeah, but of course, what I discovered is that you know, they put every science department, also the acoustic department, into, I mean, everything that could support the regime, you know, all effort into that. And you could see also they developed even an enormous speaker which were trying to kill people. I mean, I think it was like as high as me, you know, 2 meters or 180 or something, and it was supposed to kill people with vibrations. Yeah, but they failed because it was very expensive and problematic to go for. And also they realized that it's very easy to shoot shoot it and neutralize it. So I discovered, you know, that also the acoustic department, and also you know, the Radio Berlin, and everybody was totally focused, of course, to make tools for war. So it was not unlikely. I saw that they really on all levels, also in the acoustic department, was into it.
I'm also a Holocaust educator, and they did that in every avenue of German life, in every aspect,
Yes,
and
yes.
every industry, of course.
Yeah.
Did you face challenges in making this movie? Were there any roadblocks thrown up? Were there any political reactions or realities you had to be careful about?
I think first of all, when it comes to the characters, for me it was very important that I wanted people that you liked, that you sympathized with, even the conspiracy theorists. I want you to kind of connect with him in a way, because they are all very passionate about sound. That's the whole key for the casting, is really over the top passionate, actually, one might say. But the one thing I was really conscious about otherwise was that it was important to bring in real facts at some. I mean, I will not expose where we end, but it was important for me to know, don't leave this hanging. You have to find a real person who has really studied this factually.
Yeah, I want to compliment you on your use of sound, by the way, particularly in the editing process and the subtle accentuations in places. I really thought that was a thread that tied together the development of the ideas of sound very effectively. I really enjoyed that.
It's very nice that you say, because also one of the strategies we had with sound design is that, you know, when you watch a film, ordinarily the sound is in a way invisible. It just supports the story, but we really tried to go the other way. We wanted, you know, listen to the bacon or whatever.
Very effective. Would you talk a little about what's happening with the film now? I know you're in Norway, and I'd love to hear a little about if it's been released in Europe and what the initial reactions have been.
Well, we did world premiere at the CPH Docs in Copenhagen, which is like Europe's most important festival these days, in competitions, which was very nice, and kind of set it in a running motion. So it's been Poland. We go on cinema actually in Greece and Poland. We've been to Perth. We're going to Russia. So it's all over the place, and that's very fun, because obviously, I mean, it's not traditional. It's not a traditional documentary all over. So it's very. I get very happy to see that it moves so much as it is. We are also in conversations with the larger streaming platforms now, which are sniffing about around it. But now it's the festival round. But that goes well.
Good luck with that. I'm sure it will. a few questions before we close. Do you have any future projects in development right now? I know you're promoting this one, but you're an artist, and so probably you've got your eye already down the road on your next whatever. So I'd be curious.
Well, you can see over the years, I have had two genres of film. These kind of film, which are passionate projects about things in the world, not classic documentaries, but also I have a kind of tradition. I make personal films. You know, I tried existential films. I made a film about how I look at spirituality and religions. I have had a film where I tried to look into what I am as a man of today, you know, kind of personal film. And this new film now, which we actually delivered or looked, we are applying for money these weeks, is called Portrait of a Confused Father.
Okay.
And it's 20 years of filming me and my son, me trying to connect with my wild son.
Awesome. 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 I'm a dad too. I relate. That's great. So maybe this would be a best closing question. What is the last sound you want to hear before you die?
Yeah, I thought a lot about it because of the film, and for me, it's still the sound of nature, and then the sound of leaves in the trees, preferably in the autumn. I mean, that seems like a good close-up of my life, even though it's a problematic situation. That soft sound, not hard wind, but just soft sound of the leaves in the wind.
So I just became a grandfather. There's a little machine for that. They plug it in and it makes like sound of the ocean or sound of the wind right next to the crib, and the baby is just down. So you may want to treat yourself.
Yeah,
In
sounds
any
good.
case, thank you, Gunnar, very much for taking the time to be with us today. And once again, I'd like to thank not just you, but all of our members and our sponsors, our community partners, all the volunteers, all the film lovers who've stayed with us until now for participating in the milestone 25th Miami Jewish Film Festival. All the best. Be well.
Thank you.